now.
Good morning.
And we are live. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Happy Monday.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Yeah.
Isn't that what they say on that show? What's that movie that the comedian, and they're filming his whole life and they don't know it. He doesn't know it. Anyway.
I don't know.
Where he's in a bubble. He's in a world bubble, in a bubble, and they're filming him, and he figures out later that he's actually on a TV show.
Guess I missed that one, Ellen.
Well, anyway, he says, Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Aha.
That's what he says to everybody in case he doesn't see them, you know. So how was y'all's weekend?
It was uneventful. Well, never uneventful. Busy, but good.
Good. Yeah.
Hey,
How's New York?
Hot.
It's a little warm down here at the coast, too, I have to tell you. Morning, AJ. How are you? Good to see you. We got 3 folks joining us this morning. So it's Monday. And you know what we do on Mondays?
Motivate.
We motivate, and we look at our tracker, and we see how we did last week.
Yes.
For those of you that are doing that, good morning, Lori. For those of you that are doing the tracker, you know, if you've got an accountability partner, that's great. If you don't, you can be your own accountability partner. But the key is to look at your activity, you know, and then react to that activity. You got to look at the results that you got and go, am I happy with those results? And if you are, stellar job, awesome, way to go. And if you would like to improve on those results, then you can look at the numbers and see what your ratio is. You're always going to come up with a ratio. In the restaurant business and in coaching businesses everywhere, wherever I've done business consulting, and what I told people is business, no matter what kind of business you're in. There's one thing that'll happen, one thing that always stands true, and that is the numbers never lie. You know, the numbers never lie. You can say that you reached out to 278 people last week. And if you enrolled nobody, then the numbers don't lie. You're doing something wrong if you reached out to 278 people. I literally saw, I'm part of another group of people, the people that keep up with a tracker. Okay. And they do a similar tracker than we do. And the lady posted on there, she said, I did 200. I reached out to 200 and some odd people. Good morning, Jamie Lynn, and Annette is on. So anyway, she said, I reached out to 200 and I forget the number, but it was over 200. And she enrolled nobody, no customers. She enrolled no new members. And she had 140 follow-ups to do.
Wowza.
Woo! I'm like, okay, so you're doing something wrong, you know. And listen, no big deal. I mean, you just need to tweak some things sometimes. Because, see, I might think, hey, Denise, how's it going? You want to catch up this week? Yeah, cool. All right, well, let me know when you can. I might consider that a reach out. Or some people might, you know. But is that really a reach out? Is it prospecting? Is that a new prospect? I mean, it depends. If you want to call it a prospect, that's good. But here's the deal. So if I reached out to, let's just say 100 people, and I brought on, and I only got 10 of those to watch the video. Now, for me, I would be like, probably doing something wrong if I reached out to 100 and only 10 wanted to watch the video. If I reached out to 175 watched the video, and I followed up with 50 of them, and 5 of them joined, that's what is that, 10%? Yeah. So I know that I'm a 10%er. And it doesn't matter whether you're a 5%er or a 10%er or a 50%. It doesn't matter. See, that's where people get confused. They want to go, well, what's your results? Well, it doesn't matter what mine are. It matters what yours are. See, because some people feel bad, and you shouldn't feel bad. I love what Jim Rohn said. Jim Rohn said one time, he said, I can be brand new in your company, and I can only get 2 out of 10 that I present to. 2 out of 10 is all I can sign up. And you might be able to get 8 out of 10. And if we enter a competition to see who can enroll the most people this month, I'll beat you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you first hear that, you're like, okay, so you're getting 2 out of 10, and I'm getting 8 out of 10, and you're going to beat me. Yeah, because if you go out and you talk to 10 people and get 8, you talk to 20 and get 16, you talk to 30 and get, 24? So I know that I got to have 25 to win, and I get 2 out of every 10, so how many do I need to talk to? 130? Is that right? Yeah. So I talk to 130, I get 26 people, I win. You talk to 30 and got 24. So it really doesn't matter. And that's where people,
Numbers.
It's just, and see, the key is, I think the key is understanding the numbers. I think some people get frustrated because they're worried about how they stack up to other people. Doesn't really matter, does it? That's the cool thing about this business. That's a really cool thing about this business is, I was working with a telecom company. I think I've told you this before. I was working with their sales teams, and their goal, they had these, they said, we just can't get people to hit quota. I'm like, now what is quota? And they said, quota is the minimum number they have to hit to keep their job. And I said, you can't get them to do that.
How do they still have a job?
Well, that was my point. And, I did say that. I said, so how many how many did you fire last month? And they said, none. And I said, well, I'm confused. If you got to do this to hit your job and you don't fire them, then you're telling them it's okay not to hit their number. But here's what's ironic is they did a Monday call day where they had all these sales reps drive into this centrally located office, and they had to stay there until they made a certain number of phone calls. And I want to say that it was like 150 phone calls. And I said, well, that's stupid. They said, why is that stupid? I said, well, because you got, one guy's name was Ken. I'll never forget. Ken was the corporate guy. You talking about ego? This guy had ego. He'd been there for like 12 years, And he was like, what are you going to teach me? I'm the big daddy around here. And I said, you got Ken making 150 phone calls. You got, what was that little lady's name? I'm going to call her Lorraine. That's close. She's brand new. You got her making 150 phone calls. And so he's making, I said, number one, Ken's not making 150 phone calls. I saw him sitting over in the office with his feet propped up, and he was chilling like a villain. He's not making, so you don't think that Lorraine, God, I almost said her name, knows that Ken's not making 150 phone calls? And do you think that Ken wants Lorraine to beat him? And so I said, this whole thing's screwed up. I said, it doesn't matter. Here's the deal. If their quota is to sell X number of sales each month, then we've got to figure out what their averages are, what their ratio is. See, Ken might be able to talk to 10 people and beat his quota. Lorraine might need to talk to 40 people to even barely hit her quota. And see, they were all about, they were like, well, I got to make phone calls. Well, okay, well, that doesn't make sense. So the same thing applies here is you have to decide what your quota is. You see, that's the cool thing about being in the direct sales business is you decide what you want to do this week. See, this tracker is your tracker. There's no quota. You're not going to get fired. There's no minimum. There's going to be people this week who are on this call right now who are going to sign up, who are not going to reach out to 10 people this week. And you know what? That's totally cool. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to put 50 as your goal and then only do 10. Because then what happens? You get frustrated. You're like, shoot, I suck at this. No, you don't. You just did 10. It's okay. You did better than the person who did 5. But if that's what you want, so you got to look at what you want. And what's your goal? Your personal goal. And that's where I'm trying to get people to realize that in this business, you can't compare yourself to anybody else. You just have to decide what you want. How much money do you want to make? How many? And if you tell me how much money you want to make, I can tell you how many people you need. And if you tell me how many people you need, I can say how many do you get out of 10. And I can say if you want 5 and you're getting 5 out of 10, you need to talk to 10. If you want 5 and you're getting 1 out of 10, you got to talk to 50. It's not difficult. It's simple. Keep it easy. And then you say, well, okay, so what about objections? Because my thing today was 3 ways to handle objections, right?
Yes.
Timekeeper, I got 5 minutes.
Yes.
So number 1 is anticipate the objection. It's like the elephant in the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I know that people are going to say, Alan, you got a piano in your room. There's a big giant piano sitting in your room. I had people say, do you play the piano? It really messes me that. Oh, I didn't know you played the piano. I took lessons when I was a kid. Okay. So if I knew that people were going to think that piano was an objection, I could say, I got a big piano in my room. I don't ever play it because you know what? I can't play but like 2 songs. I took lessons when my mom was young. When I was young and my mom wanted to take lessons, she took lessons from a neighbor. And the neighbor was a man, and this was in the early, the 70s. I'm thinking I was probably 11. So 60, 71. And women didn't go to people's houses where men were teaching them piano lessons by themselves in 1971. You just didn't do that. That wasn't cool, And so she was like, you're taking piano lessons with me. And I'm like, okay. And the guy was our neighbor and liked to shoot basketball. So I'm like, cool, we'll play a little piano, shoot a little ball, And so I took piano lessons for like 2.5 years, from 11, 12, maybe 13 years old. But after that, I can't play the piano. I haven't played since. So I can go, dun, 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 dun. There's a few songs that I can play, But see, that big elephant in the room over there, the piano, is just like an objection. When people talk about, well, this pyramid thing. So if you anticipate that, I'm talking to, Denise, and I anticipate that Denise is going to say, is this one in pyramid things? I'm going to say, Denise, this in our business, the direct sales industry, people think of it as a pyramid thing, people on top and people on the bottom. And here's what I've done is I've created my own team and I'm at the top of my team. But there's people above me too. And listen, I'm making a ton of money. Or if you're new, I started out building this team. And wouldn't it be nice to build a team that you're on top of for once? Wouldn't you like to be on top of a team that's generating enough volume that you could make, $100,000 a year? Now, it depends on who I'm talking to. If I'm talking to somebody who 100,000 would go way over their head, wouldn't it be nice to have a team that you're on top of that's helping you make, $1,000, $1,500 a month? Wouldn't that be cool? So I've addressed the elephant in the room before the elephant in the room blows his trunk. Yeah, I swear all I've had to drink this morning's coffee. Number 2, I got 2 more minutes to get 2 more things. Number 2 is listen. And it's listen, acknowledge, explore, and respond. So many times we don't listen to understand. Have you ever been talking to somebody who's trying to get you to do something or buy something, and you start talking and you get a few words out and they go, oh yeah, that's no problem. Listen, let me tell you. And you're like, I didn't even finish telling you what I was going to tell you, So we looking at houses, looking at the house, and here's one that we're looking at putting an offer on, and down towards Carolina Beach. And so the real estate agent is like hounding me. You can put an offer in, you 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 put an offer in. And I'm thinking, damn girl, you need an offer, don't you? So I'm thinking every time she sent me a message, my offer price is going down. Because I'm thinking she's getting desperate. She needs, And so, and the price is too high. Her comps, I don't know where she got them from. She threw a price out there that was, I hope we can sell it for that price, And I'm sure her sellers are like, we're not getting any offers. What's going on? Well, because your people are going, shoot, that's too much. So I said to her, well, we've looked at a couple of other houses, and we're trying to decide between what. And her response was immediately, Yeah, but this is a great house at a great price in a great neighborhood, and you're not going to find another price in this neighborhood for this price. If you want to put an offer in, you need to go ahead and do it because it's going to sell quick. And I was like, did you listen to what I said? Because if it's going to sell quick, I wouldn't have gotten 5 text messages from you saying, are you going to put an offer in? You would be chill. You would be postured up. And see, that's number 3 is you got to be confident. You got to posture up. I know it's 15 after, Denise. Don't even look over there.
I'm looking.
You gotta have confidence. You know, I'm now thinking, is there something wrong with this house? What? I can't figure something's up with this deal. So I'm like online looking at tax records, and I found out by doing my research that the people that own this house that was built in 2000. Anyway, it's 15 years old. Okay, they built it. I've seen what they so to sell it for what they're asking for is a huge profit, you know. And for her to be harassing me tells me that they're an older couple. They got way too big of a house. They want out. I said to her, what about closing date? She goes, oh, they're ready to go anytime you are. You just let them know they got a place to stay. And I'm like, they're needing to get, you know. So she's telling me all the things that tells me, you know, so if she postured up on this house, and if I hadn't heard from her, I would be like, hey, if we want this one, we got to put an offer in. Or if she would have said, hey, just following up to see how the viewing went. Is there any questions I can answer? Any questions I can answer? And then left it at that, I'd be like, you know, the fear of loss is much greater than the hope of gain. She's hoping to gain over here, and she's kind of scaring me off a little bit, you know. And now I'm like, that's a good price. It's 4 bedrooms, it's 3 baths, it's kind of everything that we're looking for. It's close to the beach, but I don't know. She's made me feel squirrely about it. You know? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So address the objections up front. Listen to understand. Acknowledge them. You can do the feel, felt, found. I know how you feel. I felt the same way. Here's what I found out after researching that. Mm-hmm. And then have posture. Hey, if you'd like to take a look, great. If not, no big deal. No big deal. Y'all's thoughts on that before we get off here?
I think confidence is the number one thing. Boom. Because when you're not confident, people smell it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you are not confident, if you don't feel that you're confident, you're watching this and you don't feel like, oh God, I'm not that confident, then you need to ask yourself some questions why that is. Is it because you don't believe in the product? Is it because you don't think it works for you? Is it because you think it's too expensive? Is it because, you know, any of those reasons? And then when you figure out what it is, then you need to research and come back with, oh yeah, you know, it's not expensive because blah, blah, blah. It's, you know, it works for me because blah, blah, blah. And then you need to get excited. Why would somebody want it? And ask yourself all those questions because it kind of gets you pumped up. It re-fires you up to share this with somebody. When you have that kind of confidence and you know 100%, they can't fact check you and find something different.
Yep.
Right? That's big because people look to you as an authority. And we know people do business with who they like, know, and trust, right? And that's going to help. I think that is the number one thing. And yes, covering the objections ahead of time is big because you're acknowledging, you're not trying to hide anything. You're like, look, I know sometimes people have, you know, some challenges with cost, but I look at it like, you know, it's more expensive to be sick. And I just kind of work that into my budget for my own health care because I could pay $5 a day for Starbucks, or I could pay $2.30 for, you know, a full complete meal or whatever you want to say. But, you know.
That's a good one right there. Addressing the cost of the product. Mm-hmm. You know, if I look at my
objection in our own head.
Yeah.
You know, we've all struggled with that, you guys, almost all of us, right? So let's not pretend that people aren't struggling. You don't want to act like it's expensive and bring light to it, but you want to have examples that overrule that objection before it's even made without making it seem like it's an objection. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Hey, I looked at what I was spending a month on Starbucks and Happy Meals and junk food. And man, if I eating healthy, I mean, shoot, I could save an extra $300 a month.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just cutting out just stuff I was spending money on that's not healthy. So then when I say I could cut out $300 a month, then that person's thinking, oh, $300 a month. So then when they say, well, how much is it a month to be a member? Oh, $130 all in. $130 is what you're gonna. They're like, oh, well, shoot. He said save 300. It was 130. I'm coming out on a good. You know, I like that, and I also like that. Ask yourself this question when you talk about the confidence level. Would you want to be on your team?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a hard question to answer, but the truth is, in my years in this industry, I've represented some products that some people thought were expensive or frivolous or whatever. It doesn't matter what they think. It's what matters what you think.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think that down deep and you're trying to sell a piece of jewelry that you personally think maybe it's a little frivolous or it's out of your budget or whatever, yeah, they're going to think that too, because they're going to read that you're not convinced. So confidence is key.
Mm-hmm. It's and value, because look at what people are paying for Botox to make their skin look better.
Mm-hmm.
What ladies go out and spend on facials and the creams they put on. And I saw a lady on video the other day, and it was kind of comical because she's from Australia, and Amanda was watching the video, and she was like, "You got to see this. This is so funny." And she does makeup sample videos, and she's very popular and got thousands of followers or whatever. And she talks like an Aussie, which is kind of funny. And because they say odd things, they cuss like it's no big deal. It's just who they are. But anyway, so these companies send her these samples, right? So she'll talk about them. And that was one that was like $300 and some, $365, I think. And she got it out, and she's like, well, and she goes, well, this brush sucks. I wouldn't use that thing to put it on. What the hell is that? Freaking Brillo pad? Damn. And she reaches over and gets her little sponge that she uses. And I'm not a makeup person, but she's got this sponge. She goes, these are 35 cents. They sent me a Brillo pad and this freaking thing, and blah, blah, blah. And she's like doing it. She goes, ooh, this is, yeah. And it was just funny because she just like $300 and some. I mean, lost her effing mind and just threw it, And so, but people spend, people think nothing about that. And people spend that kind of money all the time, on stuff. So those are great points. Great points.
And at that, we're at 23 minutes.
Woo! Motivation. Go out there and make it happen. If we can help you, shoot us a message.
All right. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.